Before I started playing Tatake Ramenman, I looked up the game. I saw that people referred to it as kusoge, or crappy game. I braced for the worst, started playing it, and I thought, well, this isn't too bad. There's a few things I'd improve, but it's a nice twist on the adventure game formula. Then, about half an hour later, I hit the action and RPG elements. And Tatake Ramenman definitely earns its place as kusoge. Ramenman got his start in Kinnikuman, the wrestling comic and cartoon that was the source material for one of the absolute worst games we've seen so far. Ramenman got his own spin-off series, and that cartoon was coming to an end right when Bandai released this game. It seems like releasing games right as the show was ending was a pretty common strategy. Tatake Ramenman is an adventure game that happens to have some combat in it, and you can level up from that combat. Still, most of the game consists of exploring the countryside, finding items, taking those items to the right spot, and then using them. So I'd really classify it as an adventure game. The full title of the game is Tatake Ramenman Sakuretsu Chojin Hyaku Nige, or Fight Ramenman, the explosive 102 arts. The plot of the game follows the cartoon closely. Ramenman has to meet 7 masters and learn their secret techniques so that he can defeat the 3 evil generals. You control Ramenman directly, walking around and exploring this huge open world. By my count, there's over 200 distinct locations in the game. It's in that exploration that you're going to notice the first major problem with Tatake Ramenman. Ramenman moves very slowly, particularly when you're going into and out of screens. It takes a long time to get anywhere in this game, even when you know where you're going. At any time while you're walking around, you can press the A button to bring up a cursor. By default, the cursor interacts with things. Talks to a person, opens a door, that kind of thing. Not that talking to people really helps. There's a myriad of characters wandering around, but only a handful of them actually say anything useful, and they stay in one spot. If you press the B button while the cursor's active, it'll recenter on Ramenman, and if it's on Ramenman when you press B, then it switches back control to him. At the bottom of the screen, there's a few additional options. You can choose to take things. Picking Use makes the cursor use your selected inventory item on the object you click on. The Ramenman button will open that inventory so that you can select an object. You can also select pieces of information that you've gathered, and see your stats from this screen. The last option is to rest, and what that does is give you a password. With that information, you're all set to wander around, pick up objects, and solve some puzzles, since all of the puzzles seem to be use object in correct spot. The game seems to be a bit simple in that regard. So as you're exploring, eventually you'll run into some people who want to fight you. It'll go into this one-on-one match similar to a fighting game, where the A button punches, the B button kicks, and you can press down to duck. These fights are miserable. The only advice I could find on them was to just mash the button as hard as you can. There's no tactics to apply, you can't block or try to outmaneuver them. I could never even connect with a kick. After you meet one of the other masters, supposedly you can press select and choose one of their special techniques, but I never got that far. You start out at level 0, and you earn experience points for every enemy you defeat. But you can't tell how much experience you have or how much experience you're getting. Just that eventually you'll trip over to level 1. Level 1's actually the hardest level to gain. It takes 25 experience to reach level 1, then 15 experience on top of that to reach level 2, 20 experience on top of that for levels 3 and 4. And level 7 is the max level. So the experience system is completely out of whack. I never leveled up either. When you die, you get sent back to the starting point, and I'm not sure if there was an experience penalty or not. You only get half your health back when you revive, and this is what killed my game and my enthusiasm to ever play Ramenman again. At level 0, you have 40 hit points. so you have 20 hit points when you revive. The obvious question is, how do you heal? Well, there's one location that shows up in the mid-game where you can heal some wounds, or you can walk around and wait. You heal at a rate of about a hit point a minute. So let's say you barely win a fight with 1 hit point left, you're going to need to spend nearly 40 minutes doing absolutely nothing. I got to the first boss who killed me with a single attack, and realized that I'd just have to sit there with the system running for 20 minutes before I'd even have a chance of taking him on. I don't think I've seen a game mechanic that needlessly cruel in a long time. Without those fighting game problems, Tatake Ramenman would have been an okay but perhaps not brilliant adventure game. Great concept for redesigning the adventure game interface, not so great with the puzzles. That combat system, though, is disastrous. It's going to automatically kill any fun that you are having with the game.